Hello, YouTubers. It is 9 p.m. and welcome to Hump Day. It's Wednesday here on the West Coast. Most of you watching, it is early morning in the East Coast. And if you're watching in Australia, you're a whole day ahead. It's almost Friday there. So thanks for joining me in Trends in the Housing Market, and I'll be going live. I'll try to go live as consistent as possible every Wednesdays and Saturdays. There's just so many articles coming out, so many different stories coming from all over the place, and I like it how you get all these media groups trying to make it like we discovered this housing bubble, we're finding this housing bubble, we're the ones that know what's going on. And this has been going on for like the last decade, and it's been getting out of control the last 3 years. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for joining me, and I would like to discuss Toronto condo C price gain. Do you remember the article I said, was it 2 weeks ago? I was discussing with you guys how the housing took a small dip in Toronto. And I said to you guys, hey guys, you know what's going to happen? You can watch the video. It's on record. I was saying everyone's going to jump to condos, and condos will see a gain, and the detached homes and more expensive real estate will go down. Or not go down, but take a cool down or dip a bit. But everyone's going to be jumping on the least expensive real estate, which is condos and small townhomes. And that's why I'm reading this article first here out of Toronto, because this is exactly how it forecasted and what happened in Vancouver. What happened in Vancouver when they introduced the taxes and introduced all this other stuff and levies and all whatever we want to call it, and taxes and more taxes. What happened was you saw a dip in the housing market cool down, and then you saw this huge resurgence and buildup of condos. And this was like 9 months ago. And the condos were on fire. Condo sales went on fire because everyone started jumping into the least expensive investments. Or you get a lot of people that are scrambling to get into the market last minute. Or if we don't get in now, we'll never get in. So you see where I'm going here with this, right? So there's a lot of those people too that I gotta get in. I gotta get something. Or I'm gonna be bought out for the rest of my life. Anyways, broadcasting out of Merritt, BC, country music capital of Canada. I'm really happy here to be with you guys, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in. So let's get with some articles. Don't forget to send me articles during the week. I'll compile them, make sense of them. If they fit, or if the story gets too old by Wednesday or Saturday, I'll move on to other stories. So let's start out here. Toronto condo sees price gains, more sales in April. That's what I said. Toronto condo market saw less new listings, more sales, and higher prices in April, although there's something wrong. Nothing in the charts. Toronto's condo market seeing more action than usual. According to the real estate board TREEP, these guys always come up, condo sales are growing faster than all other segments, which is really impressive if you've been following the rest of the city's real estate market. I have. Condos in the city saw higher prices, less listings, and even more sales than the same time last year. Once again, people are jumping onto the cheaper investments. People are worried about being bought out. People are worried, so they go to the cheapest, most attractive. Now, if Toronto wants to introduce the same thing they did in Vancouver with the first-time buyer's loan, you're going to see this go on fire again and go even stronger. You know what I'm saying? Prices increased by over 30%. Condos across Greater Toronto GTA experienced the highest price increase of any housing type. TREEP saw the average price climb to $541,000, a 32.1% increase from the same time last year. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. And guys, don't forget, I got my comments open. Good evening, Momo1974. Thanks for joining me. Leave comments below here as we go. Remember, today is Hump Day. Most people, it's Thursday, but thanks for tuning in. 31% increase from last year. Breaking that down, a 905 region saw prices climb $449,792, a 31% increase. There's nothing you can invest in to get that kind of increase in a year. I mean, unless you invest in the Death Star or invest in something big. This is incredible. The city of Toronto proper saw prices there. They're using my language terminology. The city of Toronto proper. Where was I? I'm getting overexcited here. The significantly increase as Toronto proper stock prices climbed the highest, with the average sale closing at 578,000, a 32.3% increase from last year. This is a significantly higher increase than observed across the border market. So this is it right here. Here's the graph if you guys want to take a look at it. So things are sitting tight in Toronto, and things are going up in Toronto. Look at this, eh? Wow. I mean, you wouldn't expect, housing to be a commodity, and that's one thing you'll never expect. You know what I'm saying? Toronto condo listings declined. So the listings declined, but sales went up. Trade region saw listings drop, unlike the detached market. April saw 4,376 new listings, a decline of 3.63% in the city of Toronto. The number of listings compared to last year remained virtually unchanged. There was 3,178 listings, just 11 fewer than the same time last year. If you thought condo inventory felt light 2016, this year should feel about the same. So here are the condo sales versus new listings. So it's kind of taken off. You could start seeing the new listings taken off over sales, this is a normal graph. When you're looking sales versus new listings, this graph is always almost like this, but more actually closer together. But it's usually new listing should be somewhat higher, unless you get into one of these cross hatches here. Then you start running into trouble over supply and demand, and then things start going nuts. And this was November 2016, and that's when you started to see things start getting really hot in the market. Let's keep going here, guys. This is really good. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you're just tuning in, I said everything was going to go towards condos in Toronto. Once the new taxes went in, everyone started jumping on the cheaper investments, because everyone's treating housing, or place where you lay your hat or hang your hat or lay your head, a commodity. It's an investment. And that's what all the trendies are talking about. Everyone's talking about. It's like investments. I'm overhearing people talking on the street. It's like, I'm going to invest in real estate. That's the only way to go to make money. Anyways, let's move along. Home sales cool in April. GTA leads decline. Like I said, housing sales drop. Everyone jump ship to condos. GTA leads decline. Ottawa home sales cooled in April after setting a record the previous month as the pace of transaction in Greater Toronto are slowed, the Canadian Real Estate Association said Monday. There was a 1.7% decrease in sales over the MLS system last month compared with March, said the association, which represents more than 100,000 real estate brokers, agents, and salespeople in the country. So there you go. So like I said, I wanted people jumping ship to cheaper investments, and that's what's been happening. And it happened in Vancouver, and right now Seattle's on fire right now with real estate. Seattle prices are skyrocketing right now. I had someone message me from there telling me, man, you got to come down and get a story down here in Seattle and cover what's going on down here on your channel. And it's like and people are jumping from detached that can't afford for detached are now looking for condos. And then when you can't afford the detached, people start jumping on the condos too. So, okay, here we go. Someone just commented. Not sure if you heard the story or will cover it. Toronto's condos are being advertised in Hong Kong with agency covering the foreign buyer's tax guaranteeing rent. So, this was in 2 weeks ago show where I covered the whole Seattle thing, if you guys remember. Toronto condos with the foreign buyer. It's not just Toronto. Just so you guys know, it's not Toronto. It's also parts of. Let me just remember if I remember the cities. There's parts of New York. Do you remember those Donald Trump's son-in-law or somebody is advertising those towers? I don't know if you remember that article I read last week. That's being advertised in Hong Kong, China, and all those other places. Also, Toronto's been doing this for about a year and a half now. But Seattle's the newest one to hit the waves, and now Oregon is now seeing an influx, and all the more higher end properties in California are seeing this, and it's trickling in east. So along the coast of California, trickling eastward towards Nevada, towards that way, towards Arizona, properties are starting to see a huge price hike, and homelessness is out of control. And I'm going to do a show just on which places are being advertised where, and what is, where is being advertised and who's being advertised. I have the article open here. The link works. Sometimes the links don't work. Hong Kong ad offers to cover foreign buyers tax for Toronto condo investors. So this is what's happening. Everyone's jumping onto the cheaper real estate, and it's less of a risk with a condo than it is with a house. It's a smaller investment. So a real estate ad has surfaced in Hong Kong promising to cover Ontario's recently implemented foreign buyers tax. So, I mean, that's huge. That is huge. So basically what's happening is, sorry, I closed my window here. Let me just open this back here so I'm not totally lost here with the comments. There you go. Yeah, so basically, wow, the entire coast of North America will be advertised for sale soon. Yeah, it's what's happening. So guaranteed 30 buyers of units in downtown Toronto condo building. The ad, which boasts condos location, easy access to the city's underground path, sits approximately Ryerson University, was surfaced on news aggregation, sure, and discussed platform Reddit by user Monday, who claims to have seen the promotion posted near metro station in Hong Kong. So it's nothing new. It's being advertised. A lot of major cities are being advertised in China as potential places to invest in. A lot of people want to, but the thing is, it's the people from Toronto that's doing this. It's not the people in China. It's people, real estate investors from Toronto are going to China to get potential customers, and that's what's happening. So, and the same thing with Seattle, that's happening, in Portland, Oregon, that's happening. And I know, like I said, along the coast of California, moving eastward, it's crippling. So it started in San Francisco. It made its way down to LA County, and then it's moving its way up to Portland, Oregon, and it's also moving east, like I said, towards Nevada, Arizona area, New Mexico side, and people are starting to feel the effects there. So back to this, like I said, Toronto seeing problems in their housing market. Vancouver had more detached homes for sale than condos last month. So, look at the trend. The housing market's going back up. The detached market's going back up here in Vancouver. And condos are starting to dip. Why? I'm thinking, I haven't read this. Someone sent this to me, and I said, I'll read it. I'm thinking land assemblies are taking off. People are buying multiple homes, and I've seen this happen for land assembly. And that happens. When you buy 7 homes, 8 homes at one time, more detached homes will sell on paper. But they don't realize it's for land assembly. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's go into the article. This is the city skyline here of Vancouver. Vancouver condo sales are on the decline, but drop in new listings is leaving the city short of inventory. The latest from Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, REBGV, shows that condo inventory was lower than detached units in April. Even with a large drop in sales, this is resulting in prices pushing higher. So here's the benchmark for the price of condos in Vancouver moved higher. The price climbed 3.1% for last month to $554,000. This represents a massive 16.6% increase from the same time last year. Prices moved higher from the third month in a row following 5 months of lateral movements. So let's go back, let's take 2 steps back. $554,100 for a condo. Let us take a knee and pray for Australia, please. Because in Sydney, Melbourne, a couple of major cities there, I think even in Perth, it's a disaster. A 1-bedroom is just over right now in like in the same kind of area you would find in Vancouver, kind of same kind of view, same kind of setup, you're looking at 900,000 to 1.1 million Australian dollars for a one bedroom, without a parking spot. I might add. I need to, let you know that does not include a parking spot. So this is what's happening. So, like, in comparison to what's happening in Australia, Vancouver has it good. Toronto's catching up. Seattle's on fire. I think Seattle's going to surpass. I'm saying this now, so it's on record. It's recorded. I'm going to see Seattle surpass Toronto in the next 2 months. I'm giving it 2 more months. Seattle, followed closely by Portland, Oregon, and then the eastern cities in California are going to start getting hit hard. Anyways, look at this. This is the 5 months of. So here we go. 2015. Look at that. So if you bought it in 2016 last year, and I predicted the drop to be sometime around this year, the crash I predicted a year ago that the crash will be now, and I was absolutely wrong. And man, was I ever wrong. Because nobody expects something ridiculous like this to happen. It's common sense. You know what I mean? I didn't expect this to happen. I'm lost for words. I don't know what to tell you guys. You know what I'm saying? Because what goes up must come down. You know what I'm saying? Condo listings declined. Condo inventory is looking a little light. There were 1,983 listings in April 2017, a 17.85 decline. So watch this again. So there's sales versus listings. Here you go. You got right here in these two sections I'm pointing out here. Supply and demand issues there. That's when the prices spike. Yep. Let's move on. So it looks like people are jumping ship from condos. Not enough inventory and going back to the detached. But I'm thinking the detached is getting fueled by land assemblies. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know, okay? Because I don't know nothing. But what I could tell you guys is I think it's land assemblies. Let's continue. BC home listings fall to a 20-year low. So listings are falling. Let me just take a sip of this nice lemon water here. I'm really thirsty. BC home listings fall to a 20-year low, Real Estate Association says. This was sent to me. I got it written here on a sticky. 22 times. I received this article 22 times. So I'm reading it, guys. The latest numbers from BC Real Estate Association show that residential property sales across the province are climbing while the number of homes on the market drops to a 20-year low. Back again. Supply versus demand, demand versus supply. You start seeing quick reactions in the market. The association says that the combination means affordability, especially in Metro Vancouver area. Markets will remain challenging because the lack of supply will keep prices high. Just under 10,000 homes in BC were sold in April, down almost a quarter when compared with record-setting transactions over the same month last year, but still far ahead of the 5-year seasonally adjusted rate. The association says that the average home price was almost $729 large last month, a 2% dip from the same period last year, but the higher sales suggest that the market rebounding from the modest correction that begun after BC applied the 15% tax on foreign buyers last year. So you're seeing a plateau effect. So it's not blah and it's not woo. So you're seeing this plateau effect happening, right? Somebody's asking me here, you think with Home Capital Group thing it would go down? Well, Lucas, I got a Home Capital thing here coming up. Yeah, I have an article coming up in a few minutes just for you, buddy. This Home Capital thing, unfortunately, will be fixed by the working poor. They already got pensioners or whatever, taking money from pensioners or whatever, and the nurses or I don't know. There was the article I read 3 weeks ago when this happened, but I'll get into that in a second. So, Goldman Sachs wants to weigh in on what's happening in Canada. Good, reputable source. Canada's housing market has a 30% chance of busting out. Overhauled houses and too much home construction mean Canada has a 30% chance of a housing bust within 2 years. So, Goldman Sachs is going to give it 2 years. And we've heard a lot of predictions. I was hearing predictions 4 years ago. And now we are here in 2017. So now we're going to add 2 years. We're going to add that to our calendar. New York-based investment bank Goldman Sachs says in the new research note, a report defines a bust as a decline in inflation adjust prices of 5% or more. It looked like the housing market in the G10 economies, the countries that use the 10 most commonly traded currencies in the world. Among these countries, I found the house prices are most overvalued. Sorry, I said overhauled. I'm sorry. In New Zealand, followed by Canada, Sweden, Australia, and Norway. Mind you, I'll talk about Norway later. Somebody asked me to mention Norway. I'll mention Norway. New Zealand and Sweden have the highest risk of housing bust, 35 to 40%, followed by Canada just above 30% of the report forecast. So this is a really, really neat graph. It shows you all the different markets here, all in inclines, going up and down. Some are sporadicness. So risk of housing bust, you see it here. Canada, like a number of other countries in the study, has built too many new homes, the Goldman study concluded. What about the empty homes? Okay, so you got these unoccupied homes, I don't know, across Canada. What are we looking at? Maybe 200,000-300,000 across Canada, empty units. That's including Toronto's 99,000, Vancouver, all across Canada, empty homes in Winnipeg, tons of empty homes in Alberta. You're looking at maybe 250K empty homes, okay? I'm just putting this out there. Notably, however, it is said overbuilding is not Canada's hottest markets, the Toronto and Vancouver regions, but primarily in Alberta, Saskatchewan, where the demand for new homes slumped after the oil price collapse. I just said that, but that's okay. We would stress that in the case of Canada, a focus of many investors at the moment, there are important regional disparities to keep in mind, the report noted. It found that these countries with an elevated risk of housing bust are seeing an explosion in consumer debt. Again, TDS not fitting, people having to work 3 jobs just to cover their bases, and they're buying food on their credit cards. And watch last Saturday's show if you want to know more about TDS. Canada's debt reached a record high, above 167% of disposable income earlier this year. Once again, so when people are actually calculating this household debt, they're not taking into effect cell phone, car insurance, like other things that never get calculated into this. And once you start calculating those, you'll realize how much money you have left over for food. Because food doesn't come from heaven. It's got to come from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going here. In general, we do not expect imminent problems in the G10 real estate markets, but current imbalances could exacerbate cyclical weaknesses down the road. So this is a thing here. Look at this listing here. 1.499, 1.5 million for this house. Today, many people. Okay, I'm reading an article, a comment here on the site. So send your comments in, people. Many people have mortgages with Home Capital Group. Will shortly have a hard time with their mortgage renewals. Right, because a lot of people going to these places for cash don't qualify at a bank. Okay, they don't qualify to go to a bank. But the problem is the underwriters working at these companies, these secondary banks, are looking at the deals and saying, why isn't the underwriter saying, why doesn't this guy go to the bank? Why is he coming to us? This deal looks so good. Why? Because there's so much number fudging, so much Mickey Mouse going on, fake pay stubs, fake a lot of this, a lot of that. I'm not just saying them. A lot of people are doing this, and it's become a problem. Okay, look at this house, guys. $1.499 million for this thing. Wow. I'm speechless. You know how they say a picture is worth 1,000 words or 1,000,000 words or 1,000,000 thoughts? I don't even know what that means. But that, I could just sit here and look at that all day. 1.499 million. 1.46 million. So you could get a mansion. So what they're saying in response to this house, take a look at this house here. In response to that, you could buy at the same price this mansion in Montreal. You could buy this 8-bedroom, 9-bath, 11,000 square feet for the same amount. 3D cinema, pool nails offer. This is in Halifax. Okay. See, this right here, you watching this, people? This is a $1.5 million house. 11,000 square feet. 8-bedroom, 9-bath. So in Vancouver terms, if this is an 8-bedroom in reality, because in Vancouver I noticed 10-bedroom house for sale. I go see it. There's only 3 bedrooms here. And then they look at me. You see that there? You could fit a mattress there. You see that closet? That's a mattress there too. This is true 8-9 bedroom. This is true. This is for real. This is worth $1.5 million. Look at the hardwood floors. Ottawa, ritziest neighborhood. Mini mansion, 1.5. Wow, look at this. Saskatoon, nice house, 1. That's beautiful. 1.5. 3-bedroom in Calgary. Kind of pricey. 2,000 square feet, kind of pricey. Wow, look at that one. See, there you go. That's $1.4 million. There you go. That space right there. Now, look at this one. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, this is a joke. Look at this. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, home sales have dropped off the cliff. Prices have started to soften in Vancouver's housing market, but this is a bit old, this article, a few days old. Don't panic from what I read before. 1.5 million gets you this. Yep. Let's move on. Be prepared. Okay, so people watching, be prepared. Okay. So Lucas is 100% on board with us. 1.4 million for a house that's worth 160K. Thank you. See, Lucas understands. It's not that he doesn't want to buy a house for $1.4 million. He doesn't want to spend $1.4 million on a house that's worth 160 grand. And that's what I was saying when I lived in Vancouver. And I moved out to Merritt, and I bought it could be an 11-bedroom house if you want to make them into bedrooms. I have offices, gym, I have everything else for $260,000. Huge difference. On an acre of land. Watch my Living the Dream series. You think I'm making it up? Watch my Living the Dream series. What I'm upgrading and what I'm doing in the house, piece by piece. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? I bought this house because a lot of people, when I bought this house in February of 2017, I moved in February, but I bought it in January. A lot of people were telling me, you bought into a bubble. What are you doing, Mike? You're the king of talking about this stuff. No, I did not buy into a bubble. If you see what I got for $260, a lot of people would. I got friends visiting. They come here and they see what I bought and they're like scratching their heads and they're like, "Did you pay like $3 million for this thing?" I'm like, "Dude, 260 grand. It's got like 7 bathrooms in it, like 5 bedrooms with en-suites on. Amazing bones. The custom built home." Anyways, be prepared for Canadian mortgage rates close to 5% by 2019 report. Let me just take a sip of this before I read this here for you guys. So people are saying, so Lucas is saying, I make 50K a year, and I'm almost priced out of the market. Oh, buddy. I know I've been talking to people that I have a story I'm going to post from, I did earlier. I didn't post it yet on YouTube. Guy's making 160K a year. Can't make it. He's in so much struggling in debt. You know what I'm saying? And someone said, well, it's merit. Yeah, I love it here. I love it. Everyone's so friendly. Everything is, the downtown is right here. I can walk there. Everything's close by. The high school is state-of-the-art. Computer labs. Lots of work in the Kinder Morgan line that's coming through here. People are coming to town to work for that. The lumber mills are on fire here, just busy. Lots of people shopping. Lots of young families. Oh my God, it actually feels like you live in Canada. Young families everywhere, like when I was a kid, all these young families. Anyways, let's continue here. Be prepared for a 5% by 2019 report. Interest rates, guys. Someone told me the other day that watches my channel, actually stopped me and told me that I was delusional if I think rates were going to go up, that rates will never go up. Here it goes. It's very unlikely mortgage rates will skyrocket in the next coming years, says Desjardins. But the recent report, the credit union suggests borrowers brace for rates up to 5% by 2019. Huge. A widespread increase in interest rates to be expected over the next few years if the economic expansion continues in North America, warns Desjardins senior economist Matthew Desjardins in the Economic Viewpoint report published this month. This extent of the rise will depend primarily on how long it takes before next economic slowdown, he adds. Nothing Desjardins based scenario on suggesting a slight increase. So it's just a little bit of window fixtures. A little bit of fixtures as it's going on here. Kind of like, so they're going to kind of blame it on the economic slowdown to raise the rates, to kind of give it a reason, because they're going to need a reason or a real window coverings or window fixtures to kind of make this look like some good scenery, so it doesn't look like, because they have all this stuff pinned or supporting the provinces. There's so much economy going in these provinces. The housing it's not related, and they're not dependent on housing. That's what they want you to think. This support predictions for 2019 slowdown, which provides the basis for the base scenario. It's, let's see here. I was reading this earlier. Yeah, it's a scenario of a variable 5 rate. Rates could climb as much as 2%. Currently, the prime rate of Canada sits at 2.7%, and Desjardins says consumers can obtain a 5-year mortgage under 3% despite higher official rates, thanks to increasingly popular promotional rates. We must admit, however, that it is always difficult to forecast turnouts and economic cycle, and it has become even harder in context in which 2008 crisis changed many aspects of global economy. So like I said, guys, rates are going to go up. They have to go up. They need to stimulate the economy. They're going to blame, like I said, a slump, economic slowdown, and say, oh, well, things are slowing down. We need to balance the economy out, so let's start raising rates. And Peter Schiff was talking about this a few days ago in one of his reports. Same thing. But he's talking about the feds. Right? So let's get to Home Capital Group. So this was posted the other day. I saw this on Facebook. Home Capital Group reports further decline in deposit balances. Canada's biggest non-banker lender, so secondary lender or whatever you want to call those guys, or Home Capital Group, HCG.TO is their ticker symbol if you're on the stock market, on Wednesday published data showing that its deposit balances fell further. Big problems. So check out the graph here. This was the other day. I was watching this on TV. So it was up here. Then it's just kept dipping and dipping. People selling off, like mass sell-offs. Then boom, April 24th, or was it 25th? Yeah, it was April 25th. Boom, mass sell-off. I mean, people were just selling this thing off like it was on fire. Look at that. Boom, drop. And it's kind of recuperating, and it's back to another drop. So apparently what happened, it almost went fully bankrupt. But like I read in the other article that it was taken from some pension group, or some money was taken. It's from that day. So don't crucify me if I'm not correct with when I said it. But the article I read was they're taking it from pensioners or something, and they were taking the money and to help bail these guys out. So what's going to happen? The working poor has to pay this off. If this bad debt goes bad, someone's got to cover the banks. The people that own the homes are the ones that are going to basically suffer, and really, because these guys' rates are obviously higher than the banks, because these guys these guys here, Home Capital, borrow from banks, right? And then relend the money at higher risk, right? But the people that own property, and the people that are on secured mortgages and secured lines of credits and secured everything, they better. I got a few people message me saying that they are with these guys, and what should they do? I don't know the full situation. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of understory going on, right? Depending on the person's credit, depending on this, maybe going back to the bank and saying, hey, maybe, this is what's happening with Home Capital. Can you help me out? I'm pretty sure they could be somewhat kind of helpful at the bank sometimes, even though they're really not. You know what I'm saying? It could be. I know people that say, I've been with my bank for 20 years. I'm going to go in there and get a loan for a car. Yeah, all right. They get turned away so fast they walk out that door. Anyways, let's keep going. The withdrawals accelerated after April 19th, when Canada's biggest securities regulator, Ontario Securities Commission, accused Home Capital of making misleading statements to investors about its mortgage underwriting business. So the underwriting is basically the underwriter is the person who gives the final say when it's to approve, pending, or decline a loan or a mortgage. The company said its accusations are without merit. Home Capital said that its high-interest savings deposit balances stood at $116.8 million on Wednesday, compared to $129 million the day before. The cashable guaranteed income of certificate deposit GICs, which holders can redeem before the maturity date, fell $153 million on Tuesday from $160 million on Monday. The company last Friday said uncertainty around the future funding had cast doubt about whether it could continue as a going concern. Home Capital relies on deposits from savers and GICs to fund its lending borrowers, such as self-employed workers, newcomers to Canada, who may not meet the strict criteria of country's biggest banks. And that's a problem, because a lot of these people are the working poor, people that just coming to the country and welcome to America, and it's like the welcome to Canada, and then wanting to get into the market and getting these absorbent rates, and then on top of that, struggling. The company said it had access $1.48 billion in available liquidity and credit capacity on Tuesday, unchanged from a day earlier. So Home Capital is going from a day-to-day basis. So people are following these guys, like there's a lot of sharks on this, especially on Wall Street, or the biggest trading. I see a lot of people sharking this up and down, up and down. Day traders are sharking this like crazy. Let's move ahead. Woo! Let me take a sip of this water. This is a good one. Everyone says we're picking on China. Well, we're not. The U.S. has a foreign buying problem, and it's not China. Mainland Chinese buyers disappeared after China's new capital controls were rolled out. Despite the lack of capital being exported, anecdotal evidence has been appearing in the U.S. media to the contrary. This evidence often quotes Jiahui inquiries from 2016 before the new controls. Now we finally have a 2017 data point from March from a much larger organization, the National Association of Realtors, NAR. It shows that Chinese buyers were absent from the list of top countries. Another country did top the list for almost every city, though. Canada. Judging from Canada buying behavior from 2016, these aren't snowbirds looking to a warm place for the winter. These are good old-fashioned non-resident speculators. A lot of Canadians are going south. I told you could buy a 3-bedroom house in Arizona for 140 grand. And a lot of professionals, the Canadian brain drain. What is causing a mass Canadian brain drain? It's not higher wages. It's not more attractive salaries. It's not a free car when you come and work with us in America. We need your skills in America. Nice weather. No, it's the housing sector. The housing sector has pushed out so many of my personal friends, professionals that I know that work in specific mining industries, that are geologists and stuff that I know. I know 2 geologists. I know 2 or 3 doctors. I even know a weather anchorman that worked in the thing, and now he's working I think he's working for Chicago, Channel 7 Chicago, iNews or something. But there's so much brain drain happening in Canada that they're moving to the United States, and it's not, like I said, attractive salaries, free car if you join us, nice weather. It's they can't afford to buy in Canada, so they move south. According to the NAR, top 5 markets foreign buyers are searching for are Miami, Los Angeles, Bellingham, Washington, Hawaii, that's Wailuki, Hawaii, and New York City. All of these markets reported being hotspots for Chinese buyers in 2016. As March 27, though, China wasn't even the top 5 countries searching for these locations. Instead, Canadians topped the list. Each one of those cities, in fact, Canadians topped the list for 20 of the top markets. Wake up, people. People don't understand. Specialized work, like specialized important doctors, important surgeons, people working in the tech industry in Canada are leaving. People need to understand that. They're leaving. And look at this. Ta-da! You thought I was making this up, eh? Look at that. Miami, Florida, Canada. You buy a 5-bedroom house in Miami, 260 grand. With a place to park your boat in the water on an intercoastal. You can still pick up a 1-bedroom in Fort Lauderdale for like $58,000. That's what's happening. Miami, Florida. Canada tops. Brazil second. When I was in Miami, I used to hang out in the Little Brazil area. Just close to Pompano Beach area, west of Pompano Beach. Really nice area, really nice people. Look at Los Angeles. Canada, first place. Bellingham, Washington. Canada, first place. You see Australia in Los Angeles, and you see Australia too in Bellingham, Washington, because the Australians are looking to get out too. Hawaii, Canada, first place. Australia, second. So these countries are huge. If New Zealand had a bigger population, it would be here also with these other countries. And look at the UK, everybody. And you know who that is from the UK that's coming? That's UK proper. That's actual British people. And coming from Canada, that's Canada proper, actual Canadians. And coming from, where was it? Australia, that's Australian proper too. So it's not the Chinese folks that's buying up America. It's people from the Commonwealth. You know, and I'm telling you guys that this is like New York, Canada. Second, UK. Third, Australia. I could bet my left nut that if New Zealand had a bigger population, they'd be in all of these too. Because they're struggling so bad. And look what's happening, people. I've been talking about this for a long time. I've been talking about this for a long time. Someone's commenting, just looked up Fort Lauderdale real estate. I wouldn't say it's cheap. I'd say it's the same home prices as Surrey prices. It depends where in Fort Lauderdale. You got to look. I'll give you a zip code to look around. It's Canadian. I'll give you a zip code. Look up 33309. Look up that zip code area. Look up Lake Point, and all those gated communities up there. You can still pick up a 2-bedroom condo there in that area for pretty cheap. 1-bedroom condo for that area pretty cheap. There's look up it tells you the zip code is 33309. Look that up and see around that area. It's very reasonable, nice properties, very nice people, very multicultural, lots of fun, lots of great barbecues every day, great pool action, lots of people swimming and on a daily basis. It's fantastic. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Look at this. So who's buying up America? It's Canadians, the United Kingdom, Australians, leaving their proper countries because they just can't. And you know who's leaving? Doctors, lawyers, surgeons, tech industry people. I have a friend that owns a big software development tech thing, gets contracts for games. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Gets contracts for big games, has just under 200 employees. He went from 385 employees to 200, and he's losing employees to the United States. Can't find no one qualified. Doesn't even post in Job Shark. Doesn't even post in those places because he can't even find. Everyone he interviews has been a waste of time to him. And he's looking to relocate south of the border to somewhere cheap. I keep telling him, move to Chilliwack, maybe Hope. So people living in Chilliwack could drive to Hope, or Chilliwack, so people living in Hope can move, because a lot of people move to Chilliwack. I did the drive the other day from Vancouver. So many people leaving work at 3, 4 o'clock. It took me hours to drive 70 kilometers. It was 50 miles. It took me hours. It was crazy leaving Vancouver. Anyways, let's move on. Vacant homes are a global epidemic, and Paris is fighting it with a 60% tax. Paris ain't playing games here, you know what I'm saying? The French are pretty teed off, and I know the Italians too. The Italians too are pretty teed off. I was watching something in Rome the other day with the vacant homes there. The Italians are pretty teed off. Runaway real estate speculation has been filling global capitals with vacant homes, creating artificial shortages in the world's most sought-after cities. The shortage has made local homeowners wealthy overnight, but it comes at the cost of turning lively cities into empty shells. The city of Paris has decided it's had enough and had implemented a tax in 2015. They didn't quite get the results they wanted, so they're now tripling the tax to 60 points. 60%. Okay, Canadian just looked up 33309 zip code in Fort Lauderdale, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1,300 square feet, is selling at $332,500. Wow, that's gone up. That's going up. Because when I was there at that time, let's say 10 years ago, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath was like 60 grand. But it's going up. Hey, Canadian, can you look up for us Las Cruces, New Mexico? Because I know Las Cruces, I was looking there for property and it was pretty cheap. Las Cruces, south of Albuquerque, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. If you want a good place to go and visit, check out Las Cruces in New Mexico, and it should be pretty cheap. So Canadian, look me up that and put it in the comment section. So let's go this. Runaway real estate speculation filling global at 60%. So France isn't playing. They're like, hey, you want to leave this empty? 60 points. I'd be pretty choked if I had an empty property in France right now. I'd be pretty choked. Paris empty home problem. Paris has been trying to deal with vacant home property owners for some time, despite the warnings that the city will have to take action. The number of vacant homes is growing. There is now 107,000. This is just in Paris. Paris. 107,000 vacant homes, representing 7.5% of all residential dwellings in the city, according to France's INSEE deputy Mayor Ian Brossat told Le Monde that 40,000 of these vacant homes aren't even connected to the electrical grid. Yep. Now let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little something. Okay. Not connected to the electrical grid. You know what that means? Electric company, water company, internet company, they're getting teed off. They put hookups in these places, and they're not getting nothing for them. These companies are putting pressure on the governments now, saying, hey, we voted you in. We got you voted in. We supported you to get voted in. The big cable companies and the big internet companies and cell phone companies and all those companies that put hookups in these homes, you know what I'm saying? Water, even the water company. Hey, we got you voted in. What's going on now? We're losing. We got 40,000 places that don't have electricity. How do you expect us to fund your next election if we're out 40,000 units? So this is becoming a big problem. Local developers have argued that more new construction is the solution. This is backwards thinking again. So you have more empty homes, more construction, more empty homes. People can't afford to buy. In a city that's dense as Paris, where it is very difficult to build, controlling the occupancy and housing is strategic. It appears the city believes that they have 107,000 reasons more construction is not the solution. Look at the vacant home count. Holy smokes. Let me zoom this out so you guys can see this a bit better. There we go. 300. Okay, it starts from the left for the right. London. Holy crap, look in New York, guys. 308,000. Really? Okay, here we go. We got back from Canadian. Las Cruces has an area population of only 100,000, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So it's obviously going to be cheaper. A 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot house is selling for 219,000. Canadian, go down to Las Cruces. It's really nice. It's beautiful architecture, colonial, like Spanish, Portuguese architecture. It's beautiful. Las Cruces is amazing. I've been there a few times. Very nice. Don't look at the photos on Google and judge it. It's really nice. Nice people, amazing food. 219 grand for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So there are places, if you look. Hong Kong. Okay. Hong Kong's small, people. Hong Kong's tiny. It's got 42,000 empty homes. Paris, 107,000. Singapore, 29 large. Sydney, 118 large. Wow, Sydney. I feel so sorry for the people down in Australia. Toronto, 99 large. Vancouver, 66,719. San Francisco, 30 large. And Los Angeles, 213,649. I just wanted to put that out there. Just this is crazy. So this is the vacancy as percentage here. Paris vacancy tax increase. Paris implementation a tax recently, but it didn't quite produce the desired outcome. Starting in 2015, city elected tax vacant homes equivalent of 20% of the fair market value of rent. On January 30th this year, they decided to triple the amount up to 60%. The idea isn't to punish those fortunate enough to own a second or 12th home. They're trying to discourage speculators to promote a healthy rental market. So there it is here. There's vacancy as a percentage. Crazy. Look at New York, man. Empty homes across the world. 178,000 empty homes might seem like a lot, but it's becoming strangely normal around the world. New York City. So it's basically going over the same. I want you guys to, if you can, please, in the comments section, I want you guys to tell me how many empty homes you think of these total around the world that are in sought after cities. I'm not talking about abandoned homes off the highway. I'm not talking about old mining towns that shut down 1,000 years ago. I'm talking how many what do you guys think? How many empty homes do you guys think are in this world in sought after sought after cities. I'm guessing 4.5 million total. United States, Canada, Australia. I heard Russia's seeing a bit of this in some of its major cities. I know that Sweden, Denmark, a lot of these major cities are seeing there. So Canadians saying probably 10 million. That's safe to say. I mean, if you get proper numbers, then we could get proper analyzation, right? Where are we here, guys? Where are we? This is the UK. This is the United Kingdom. House prices in softest patch for several years. Value of the average home relatively static for 10 months, says Office National Statistics. House prices are now in their softest patches for several years, according to a leading economist. Following the release of the latest national house prices published by the Office of the National Statistics (ONS), alongside the Bureau of Inflation figures this morning, Samuel Tobes, chief UK economist and Perthen Macronomics, told the BBC that it's now abundantly clear that the housing market is in its softest patch for several years. So, just like in Vancouver, just like other places, it's plateauing. So, it's not dipping, it's not, because there's a lot of things being put in place to prop this market up, right? And this has been happening, for a long time, So somebody messaged to me, let's claim squatter rights on all of them. Yeah, with the amount of homeless people that are going around, wouldn't be surprising. According to today's report, property values were down between February and March in all regions of the UK, except Wales and West Midlands. On an annual basis, average rose 4.1% to £215,000, well down on recent rates of more than 5%, while the ONS said the average valuation has remained relatively static for 10 months. So, like I said, back to that plateau, it's not tricking or treating. The housing market in the UK doesn't know if it's tricking or treating. It doesn't know where it's going. So let's move on. Increased housing at the at top end, not trickling down to help poor, report finds. This is The Guardian from Australia. And like I said again, a one bedroom. I saw multiple one bedrooms in Australia for $1 million with one bedroom without a parking spot. It's phenomenal. Less than 5% approvals for new homes are at the bottom 20% of the house and unit real price at the unit real price distribution. Most new housing stock in Sydney and Perth is in the middle of a high price range and fails to improve housing affordability, trickling down to lower prices for those on low incomes. But people don't understand those on low incomes are the ones that are paying for everything. Those are the ones that are being taxed the most on their wage and their labor. They're being taxed on their labor. Those are the ones that are being basically eaten alive by taxes. And they're the ones that are carrying this, and they don't have a place to live. So, I got so many here. Okay, someone's commenting on someone else. Someone's commenting on someone else. I guess they could give a tax break to people who rent out. Yeah, why not? Vancouver's headed for one bed, one bath for $1 million. Yeah, it's going to happen. I didn't expect this to happen last year at this time when I said there's going to be a crash around this summer. And man, was I wrong. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. But I'm pretty chewed up with this. It's like, I don't know how people could accept this as normal. Are people's wages increasing more than because I haven't worked for an employer for like 15 years or longer now. I've always owned my own businesses. Watch my starting a business from scratch series. I'm actually restoring an old store and building it up and trying to get custom. Watch that series; it's good. Anyways, this is crazy because the middle working poor is what carries. Is the actual. It's the people that carry this economy. It's the people that support the economy and the people that get thrown into a tank of sharks when it comes to taxes. Okay. People commenting. If you belong to a cultural group that's not tight knit, you can get it done. Sorry for the show interruption, Mike. No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. This is everyone talk, chat. Steve the Plumber says Mike Martins appears to be pretty handy. Yeah, watch that show. It's good. I'm doing things around the house that I never thought in my dreams I'd do because I never thought I would ever own a house. Anyways, let's go here. So, Australian wages growing more slowly than cost of course. 1% increase in the real house prices would boost a new housing construction by 4.7% compared with as much as 15% in the United States. According to the research, such as increase would also increase the total stock by 0.05 to an increase. So going back to supply and demand, it's not that. There's too many empty homes. That's got to get fixed. And last but not least, Goldman Sachs. Okay. Swedish. Okay, I get a lot of people messaging me from Sweden saying, why aren't you mentioning Sweden in my show? I'm mentioning Sweden in my show. Okay, here it is. Goldman Sachs, and it's from a reputable source too. Goldman Sachs says Swedish Kiwi housing market most at risk of bust. What do you guys think? I mean, it's the first time I'm mentioning Sweden, but I know they've been having this problem. Big time. Okay. A lot of people commenting here. Anything for me, just tag me in it. And then Steve the Plumber says, just don't do the plumbing, bud. Yeah, I'm not going to do plumbing or electrical. Anyways, let's keep going. Goldman Sachs. So let's talk about this, guys. So bank sees a 35 to 40% chance of prices dropping in the next 2 years. New Zealand houses most overvalued, followed by Canada and Sweden. And no one ever really talks about New Zealand because the population is small. But I was talking to a plastic surgeon who's been working in, I think it's in Auckland. I can't remember. But he messaged me and says he loves my show. They need more people like me to come out and just talk and create discussion. I'm reading articles, for God's sakes. I'm not making this crap up. I'm just finding this as we go. You know what I'm saying? It's there in black and white, or blue and white and red and green, whatever you want to call it. And he's telling me that he's looking to move to Florida, or one of the Florida Keys, and start a small practice, something small. And he's a plastic surgeon, and he wants to upgrade to a slightly bigger home. He wants to get something more in the 5-bedroom area, more of 5 bedrooms, and he can't afford it, and he's a plastic surgeon. He just can't. He's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going here. The Swedish and New Zealand housing markets are at the most risk of correction among the so-called G10 economies, according to Goldman Sachs. In a report, the house price in G10 nations, those with the 10 most traded currencies in the world, Goldman finds that they are most elevated in small, open economies such as Sweden and New Zealand. The investment bank said that there is 35 to 40% chance of housing bust in each country over the next 2 years, in which defines the housing prices falling 5% or more after adjustment for inflation. this has to happen. I'm not trying to screw up investors or break people's dreams that bought into this market. If the middle class starts leaving or moving away, it's going to be so detrimental. It's going to be horrible to the economy of the bigger cities. Every little city has its own little economy, built into it. It's got its mayor. It's got, then it goes to the provincial level. It goes to like county. Then it goes to the provincial state level. Then it gets bigger, right? And every little city, some of those major cities like Los Angeles, New York, have bigger GDPs than Romania does, for example. I'm not picking on Romania. I'm just saying, for example, right? And when those cities start seeing an influx of brain drain and people leaving because they can't live in these big cities anymore, it starts to economically hurt, especially the middle class and the working poor. Once the working poor goes, it's over, finished. Anyways, guys, I am falling asleep here, and I'm going to wrap things up. And I want to thank everyone for joining me and commenting on the comments. This will be, I'll continue. I'll do another show Saturday night, 9 p.m. Tijuana time. So, if you guys want to send me some articles, find me on Instagram. My name is, it's just Mike Martins. Find me on Instagram. You'll find me there. I'm like this in the picture with a ball cap on. Find me on Instagram, or if you go to the top of my Facebook page, you will see a fan page for my fan page. It's my Portuguese fan page because I'm working with Portuguese Africa right now with the elections happening in Angola and all this stuff happening in Mozambique with missing money. Go up there. You could message me on my Portuguese page, but I get like 700 messages a day, and it's hard to weed through what's going on, right? Thanks, guys, for watching. Big hug to everyone. And don't forget to catch me 9 p.m. Saturday, Tijuana time. Big hug. Thank you, guys.